Like and subscribe and click the bell icon to get new video updates.
Johnson faces fresh leadership speculation amid scathing report on booze culture by Rob Harris, updated May 25, 2022, 10.19 first published at 8:35 p.m. Save login, register or subscribe to save articles for later. Share normal text size, larger text size, very large text size, 0. Leave a comment. London, a scathing report into boozy parties held at Downing Street during coronavirus lockdown threatens to plunge Boris Johnson's 3-year tenure as Prime Minister into fresh doubt. The 37-page report with 9 photographs of illicit gatherings said that the public would be dismayed that behaviour of this kind took place on this scale at the heart of government. The report by civil servant Sue Gray dealt with a series of accusations against Johnson, his government and officials, who are accused of holding social gatherings during multiple COVID-19 lockdowns. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson's leadership has been rocked by Partygate and a cost of living crisis. Credit: Getty. Addressing the House of Commons just hours after the release of the report, Johnson said the findings had emphasised that it was up to the political leadership at Number 10 to take ultimate responsibility, and of course I do. But he said it was important to set out that over a period of about 600 days, gatherings on 8 dates were found to be in breach of the regulations. He said staff were working extremely long hours during the pandemic, and the exemption that allowed staff to go to Downing Street to work during lockdown also applied to when people were leaving the government. Johnson told the Commons that it was appropriate to recognise them, to thank them for the work they had done. I briefly attended such gatherings to thank them for their service, which I believe is one of the essential duties of leadership. Johnson did concede some leaving DOS went on far longer than was necessary, and fell foul of the rules. The report found many of the events should not have been allowed to happen, and said some junior civil servants believed that their involvement in some of the events was permitted given the attendance of senior leaders. The senior leadership at the centre, both political and official, must bear responsibility for this culture, the report found. Gray said it was not up to her to decide what disciplinary action should take place. That was for others to consider, she wrote. The inquiry into the breaches at the heart of the British government in Whitehall was commissioned in mid-January, but was later delayed to allow the police to conduct their own investigation. That probe, which eventually issued 126 fines to 83 people, muted some sting from Gray's report. Many Tory MPs have said publicly they would suspend judgment on Johnson's conduct until Gray had reported in full. He still faces an investigation by the House of Commons Privileges Committee into whether he lied to his fellow MPs over the affair. Gray published new details of 12 gatherings in Downing Street and Whitehall during the pandemic. At one, which broke up after 3 a.m., there was a minor altercation between 2 individuals, and somebody was sick. Before another, officials were warned to be mindful of not being spotted by cameras carrying drinks. In December, Johnson insisted that the rules were followed at all times. The Privileges Committee may not report until the end of the year. Pressure on Johnson has increased this week after photos emerged of him holding a drink and toasting a departing staff member in November 2020 while the country was under strict stay-at-home measures. Boris Johnson said sorry to the Queen after aides held a drunken party on the eve of Prince Philip's funeral. Credit: AP. Ahead of the report, a BBC investigation revealed that partygoers in Downing Street were so cramped together at one leaving do attended by Johnson that some were forced to sit on each other's laps. Officials speaking anonymously to the BBC's Panorama said they sometimes arrived at work to find bins overflowing with empty bottles from parties the night before. Security guards who tried to stop one illegal gathering were laughed at. In January, Johnson said sorry to the Queen after aides held a drunken party on the eve of Prince Philip's funeral. The police probe, which cost taxpayers an estimated £460,000, $816,000, was asked to look only at potential criminal activity, with officers gathering testimony and photographic evidence from 12 events between May 2020 and April 2021. These included a notorious Bring a Bottle party in the garden of 10 Downing Street. Johnson was fined only once, although he attended several rule-breaking parties. Rishi Sunak, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, and Carrie Johnson, the Prime Minister's wife, also received fines. While the police focused only on who broke the rules and when, Gray aimed to establish responsibility and apportion blame. Gray,